Good.
All right. It says we're live. I don't always trust it though when it says that because I don't know why. It feels like there's a delay. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Isn't It Romantic Book Club's live stream discussion with Priscilla about her novel Holiday Home or her novella Holiday Home Run. Tonight we're streaming into so many places. We're streaming into Jennie's Page Turners. We're going to be live on YouTube. We're in Midnight in the Garden. We're in our Isn't It Romantic Book Club. We're in My Dangerously Dark Darlings. So we're like everywhere tonight.
Yeah,
I'm Abbie. I know, right? I'm Abbie Roads. I write dangerously dark romance. I tell people to think an episode of Criminal Minds with a paranormal twist meets a love story. Here's my little pile of books. Race the Darkness and Hunt the Dawn and Never Let Me Fall and Saving Mercy in there somewhere. And here's my cover for Capturing Fate. I'm just working on it. Its release date is January 28th of 2021. And before I pass it on to, I don't even know who I'm passing it on to. But anyway, before I pass it on, I just wanted to let everybody know that we are giving away a $20 gift card to somebody who leaves a comment tonight. So the more comments you leave, the more entries you have. You can comment about what we're talking about. You can ask a question, just anything, and you're entered. Also, I just wanted to let everybody know that tomorrow in my group, My Dangerously Dark Darlings, is Secret Santa Day. And if you know what Secret Santa Day is, it's spectacular. We're having 139 authors who volunteered to be Secret Santas giving away presents all day in my group. So it's like an epic event every year. Everybody just has the best time, readers and authors. So if you're not a member, make sure you join. It's a one-day only event. It's tomorrow only. So you still have time tonight to join, but don't miss it because it's so much fun. Really, really so much fun. Yeah, whoever's next. I don't know who's next.
I think Jennie's next.
I think I'm next. Okay. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. I'm Jennie Marts. And I write hockey playing cowboys. I actually will share my little cowboy fellas. If you're looking for a new Christmas book, Wish Upon a Cowboy is my Christmas cowboy story, and I just really love it. My newest book is Cowboy State of Mind, which is my horse rescue series. But I don't very often mention, but I also write cozy mysteries. And so I thought I would show a couple of my cozy mysteries. So this is Tangled Up in Tuesday and What to Do About Wednesday. And I have a 7-book cozy mystery series about a group of women in a book club, just like us. Except for there's a lot of murders that happen around them, and that is us very
yeah, just like us.
And they go and they like to solve mysteries, and they search for clues and romance while eating really great desserts. So anyway, check out the Page Turners mysteries if you're looking for just something fun and light. And there's a Christmas story in here too. There's a Cowboy for Christmas story in the Page Turners too. So anyway, I am delighted to hang out with Priscilla tonight and to be with my gal pals. I just love these girls so much, and we have so much fun together, and we're so excited to have you guys as the readers pop in and be with us and hang out with us. And we just appreciate you giving up your time, whether you're here live or whether you're watching later. We're just so happy to have you guys here with us and spending an hour just hanging out with us and visiting and chatting.
Yeah. Well, Jennie, we love you back too. It's always so much fun to be with everybody. And hi, everyone, saying hello. I see you there. It's nice to see you. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Amy. It's good to see you guys. My name is Diana Muñoz Stewart. I write romantic suspense for the strong of heart. My first series, Black Ops Confidential, is out now and includes I Am Justice, The Price of Grace, and The Cost of Honor. It's about a secret society of female vigilantes that travel the globe righting wrongs against women and the hot men they love. And my next series, Broken Promises, is out early next year. I'm not going to make any promises, but we'll see.
You don't want to break any promises.
No, not broken that promise. Yeah. That's Sharon.
Oh, my turn. Okay, sorry. There's a delay on my side, guys. So I apologize if I'm standing here staring at the camera at moments because my internet is going in and out. Anyway, my name is Sharon Wray, and I'm so happy to be here with Diana and Abbie and Jennie, and of course Priscilla tonight. I am the author of the Deadly Force series, which is they're actually really thick books. They think like Dan Brown type mysteries with really hot, steamy sex and romance. In Search of Truth is the most current book out, and the next one, Love's Last Kiss, I think it's coming out, I think by March, and then A Promise at Midnight will be coming out hopefully next November. Anyway, tonight I'm so happy to have Priscilla Oliveras here. And I'm so grateful to be able to introduce her. Priscilla and I have known each other since, oh my gosh, 2005, when we met at a writing conference in Dallas, and we roomed together. We barely knew each other, but and she was a Golden Heart finalist that year. Anyway, I'll read her bio for us. Priscilla Oliveras, the 2018 RWA Rita double finalist, who writes a contemporary romance with a Latinx flavor. Proud of her Puerto Rican Mexican heritage, she strives to bring authenticity to her novels by sharing her Latino American culture with her readers. Since earning an MFA in writing popular fiction from Seton Hall University, she also teaches an online continuing education course entitled Romance Writing for Ed2Go. Priscilla is a sports fan, a beach lover, a half marathon runner, and a consummate traveler who practices the art of napping in her backyard, which I can attest to. And to follow her along, follow her at PriscillaOliveras.com. So, welcome, Priscilla.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hi. It's so good to be here.
Great to have you here. We're so excited.
Yes, I'm just loving being home so long. It's nice how technology can bring us all together.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, great.
Sure.
Yes.
I enjoyed your book so much, Holiday Home Run. It was so light and charming and just exactly what I needed.
Oh, thank you. It's a little short because it was one of 4 novellas originally in the Fern Michaels anthology. So they were really strict about, Kensington was like, okay, 25K or less, please. But it was the first time I had written a novella. And I would say, I had never, and thankfully the way it worked out, they asked me if I wanted to participate, like, it would be part of it. And of course I said, yes. But I was right. I had actually written book 3 already, or I was finishing book 3 in the Match to Perfection series. But the way the books were going to come out, the novella would come out like before book 3. So what I wound up doing is during revisions, I added, if anybody's read all 3, you'll see that like in book 3, which is Their Perfect Melody, Lee's book, Julia is in that book because in the timeline of the Fernandez Familia, she would have already met Ben like the Christmas before. So that was interesting, weaving her in to Lily's story. And then because I wanted readers to meet Lily a little bit more, or any new readers who might have been new to the Fernandez Familia because they picked up the anthology because of Fern or Donna or Kate, I wanted them to meet the sisters. So that's why I have Julia room with Lily, so that Lily will be in some of the scenes with her. But it was just really fun. I spent the whole time that I was writing it listening to songs from parrandas when I was a kid, Christmases in Puerto Rico. And
I was going to ask about that. I love her family so much, and I just felt such warmth and kinship with them. Does that reflect your family a lot? Is there a lot of your family and your experiences in there?
I think so. I write in all of my books. There are always familia themes, in part because where you have family, there's going to be love, but there's also going to be conflict. There's always going to be. So it's right for our books, but also because my familia, or my family, is a big part of my life. Right now, I live, mommy and papi, my mom and dad and I all live together, and we're I FaceTime with my girls, even though they're adults and off adulting, and my niece is out in the Nevada area, but we FaceTime and, all the time. She actually has the first grandbaby, and now my nephew out there has the second grandbaby. I only have grandpups, but
you did a great job of talking about family and how, there can be a lot of pressures from our family, even though we love them. I thought that was, spot on. And the one thing I really keyed into was the idea of trying to balance your career and what you want with all your family obligations. Do you find that's difficult for you, or?
Well, I will say, like Sharon said, we've known each other for a long time, since 2005, but I started writing way before that. And so like from the very first time that I typed on my handy dandy electric typewriter, because we did not have a computer, the first time I typed, chapter 1, from there, it was 26 years before I sold to Kensington. Wow. I will not say I was not writing a book a year in a large part because my personality and my makeup and what was important to me. When I started writing that first book, I had one child and she was a 4-month-old, and I had been a full-time student, but a surprise military move meant I had to take a semester off of school. And so I wanted to do something. But so I started writing then, but then I had 2 more kids and I got 3 degrees and moved around, and changed my marital status. So I was, there were like my family, I put that above for me writing. So I can't say it took me 26 years and I was writing a book a year or anything, anything like that. I was writing around homeschooling and raising kids. And so
writing was your support, basically. Writing was the thing you did for yourself.
Yes.
All of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was, so like even like homeschooling, I didn't have a lot of writing time, so I didn't write very much, but I always maintained contact. Like I was a member in the National Writing Organization. I was a member of RWA all those years. And I think in part because I knew I really wanted to write, and I thought if I end that membership, that's kind of letting go of something, and I want to. So I didn't really get serious about writing and start my FA until I just had one daughter left at home, and so I had a little bit more time. And now that they're all grown, it's okay if I want to write 24/7, or if I'm up till 3 and I need to sleep in a little bit longer, because it's just me. I just got to feed myself. Or actually, my mom will open the door and say, like, "Have you eaten? I'm going to make breakfast. Do you want something?" To make sure that I eat. So I feel like I'm rambling now. I don't remember the question.
No, I'm thrilled with this. I can totally relate. And, the idea of all those years writing for yourself and now getting to share your work with people, that must feel amazing.
It is. I think as a writer, especially nowadays that we have, it used to just be, the big 6 and then the big 5, like traditional publishing. And then, we started getting some small press and now indie. So there are a lot of avenues for writers, and there's not one right path that is right. It's you as an individual figuring out which is the right path for you. And so when indie really started exploding, and by then I had finaled 3 times in the Golden Heart, and you come like this close, right? You get a revise and a resubmit, and the editor's like, "I love it. Can you just tweak this?" And then, so you feel like you're this close. And so I had a lot of friends asking, "Why don't you self-publish those books?" But for me, Priscilla, the author, years ago when we were homeschooling, whenever we would go to a bookstore or a grocery store, any store that had books that had romance, we would go by. I would, even if it was out of the way, I'd go by just to look, was there a friend's book there that, I wanted to buy to be supportive. And we were in a bookstore one time and we were, perusing the romance shelves looking for friends' books. And one of my girls said, "Mom, when are we going to come and buy your book? When are we going to come and see your book here?" And so I had that dream, I wanted that to happen. And so that's why for me, I kept seeking traditional publishing. And when my debut came out, when His Perfect Partner came out, like a week later, I live in Gainesville, Florida. So go Gators, home of the Florida Gators. And my youngest came home to go to the football game. and so she and I went to Books a Million and had that moment. We took a bunch of cheesy pictures. She's like jazz hands at the book, and so for me that was important that was a life moment, or like a writer's life moment that I didn't want to give up, but I wanted to experience it with my girls.
Priscilla, we've got a couple comments for you.
Oh, sure.
Michelle Diaz said, Priscilla, the way you added Spanish into your writing and then translating it in the conversation was so smooth and impressive.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I try really hard. I don't want a non-English English speaker. I don't want a non-Spanish speaker to feel like they need to go to Google Translate or anything like that. But at the same time, as a native Spanish speaker, like I spoke Spanish first, and then my sister and I learned, in the playground and at preschool and in school. But when I say something in Spanish, that I don't repeat it in English in my head, or I don't think it in English and then it comes out in Spanish. It just, like one time I had someone ask me, how do you know when to switch into Spanish and back to English? And you don't really, like my mom and I are cooking in the kitchen, and I'll say, hey, dame eso from the fridge, like that means, get me that from the fridge. So in the books, I want it to, if it's a Spanish speaker, I want it to be natural, but I don't want to have to translate right away. So I try hard, like in Her Perfect Affair, Lily and Yasmin are arguing about something, and Yasmin tells her, cállate la boca. And I don't want a reader to go Google Translate. What does that mean? So my hope then, what I try to do is when Lily came back, she was like, don't tell me to shut my mouth. I can say whatever I want to say. Mm-hmm. So I hope that happens, but I'm always
very clever. You're very clever with that, because I noticed that too, that you did that very, very well.
Oh, well, I appreciate you saying that, because I'm always wondering.
No, you did it very well.
For non-native.
Yeah, I agree too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks.
Priscilla, what was in this novella? What was your
Priscilla? Your book
scene? Sorry, Sharon. Poor thing, you're on delay.
I'm on a delay, so sorry, Abbie.
Yeah. So what did you say, Sharon?
Oh, Abbie can go first. That's okay.
Okay.
I was asking what your favorite scene was in this book, to write.
Yeah.
What one did you have the most fun with, or you just had the most feelings about, or?
Golly. It was, I had fun because I love Chicago. As a Cubs fan, I love Chicago. I just know that as a Florida girl, I could not hack a full winter in Chicago. So I've never lived there. I want to live in Chicago during baseball season and go to the Cubs games, and then winter in Florida. So probably I have never been they have the outside of Wrigley. There's like a whole new area, and it's been a few years since I've been able to get back to a Cubs game from all the way over here. So I think the ice skating rink, I had a good time Googling what are some fun winter activities that are going on in Chicago, right now. I really had fun. But this was pre-writing, house hunting for Ben's house in Wrigley.
Wow.
I knew I wanted to do that. I had read an article about some of the Cubs players, like Ben Zobrist, who's no longer playing, but and several others who live in Wrigleyville, and they bought specifically so Ben liked to ride his bike to the field. And so I was like, oh my gosh, Ben would totally do that too. My Ben would do that. So I went on Zillow and I found some places, and they had videos. So there's a 6-minute video of the inside of this house that could,
right.
So house hunting was really fun. But I think the scene is probably when he takes Julia ice skating.
I love that.
I liked that aspect, mostly because I would love to go ice skating with Ben.
The whole place, and it's
yeah.
You know what? I didn't think I'm a weird crier. I'll cry if an animal gets hurt in a book, man, I'm gonna cry. And there was no animals hurt in this book, but I got teary-eyed at one scene in there. And it was when, and it's the oddest scene. Like it was when you were describing, and it hadn't even happened yet, when they were describing what the kids were going to do during the party, how they were all going to be at their table and they were all going to start singing and then walking up there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could totally see that in my mind. And the beauty that you set up, like the beautifulness of that room was just like, I totally was there. And I am a person who cries at beauty. And I was like, you did such a good job setting that whole scene. And you were just like telling, you weren't even like, it wasn't even happening. You were just telling what was going to happen. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would just be so beautiful.
Thank you. I wanted to try, like a parranda it's in Puerto Rico, a parranda starts like in the evening and it goes through the night and you know, a group of people will start at somebody's house with dinner and then you go from home to home and you pick up people. So I wanted kind of that aspect to honor the kids from Humboldt Park, you know, and at the youth center and pay respect to, you know, the Latino, because Humboldt Park is a heavy Latino area. So that's why I wanted to do the parranda. And I was hoping that you would kind of get that feel, you know, that community of them all coming together, kind of what you feel like when you're doing a parranda. So I appreciate you saying that. Thank you, Abbie.
You just did such a good job with that. Yeah.
And Sharon, I'm gonna pause it all because to give you a chance to you can't just jump in.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight, but can you so Priscilla, I have to tell you this story. I was reading your book over Thanksgiving and my daughter came home she goes to UVA in Charlottesville. And she said, Mom, I'm not taking this job in Virginia that I thought I was taking. I'm taking a job somewhere else in another city really far away. And I'm like hyperventilating. And I'm reading the book and your heroine is, you know, doing what she wants to do, has to deal with her mother. And I thought, I don't want to be the mother. I don't want to be the mother. I don't want to be the mother. And I'm reading the book and you know, she's moving to Chicago. And as I read the second half of the book, after I found that out, it was a real comfort to me because the way you described the city and the family, and all I can hope is that that's what she'll find when she gets there. Because Chicago is very far from Virginia where we live. And with the pandemic, I don't know how much I'll be traveling back and forth. We have no family there. All of our families on the East Coast from Georgia all the way up to Boston, but nothing west of the Mississippi, nothing. And but your book was a real comfort because I thought, Priscilla knows Chicago. I'm going to call Priscilla. I'm going to find my daughter an apartment and a roommate and tell me where to stay, where to go. So anyway, I thought I wanted to tell you that story.
Oh my gosh! Well, I would love to be living in Wrigleyville with your daughter. She would totally not want to live with me. You know. But there are side note. There are like some good author friends that live in the Chicago area. So we should talk, you know, privately if you want to kind of connect with people that are living there. Yes.
I was going to say lives there and Julianne
and Melanie Johnson.
Oh, okay. I don't know Melanie as well. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But Sonali's there. Yeah. And and Falgony has a daughter that lives there, so she might that's college age or like graduate school age, so that might be helpful. I was going to say Lisa Murray, you're a Cardinals fan. I'm so sorry for you. My two favorite teams are the Cubs and anybody who's playing the Cardinals. But I love like Lisa said she has her kind of like you have a family tie and that's why you're Cardinals because your dad played in the minor league. I'm a Cubs fan. A lot of people ask me if you're from Florida, how the heck are you a Cubs fan? And same thing, like boy, how your family ties. My uncle, my mom's brother played and managed. Actually, he was mentored by Roberto Clemente in Puerto Rico, who kind of ties into. I have a novella coming out in June, and Roberto Clemente has a kind of a role in there or about him. It's the hero is a rising Broadway star, and he's written a musical about Roberto Clemente, and so you hear the stories. But anyway, so my uncle played and managed, and my mom grew up at the baseball field with, with her brother, or watching from the stands with my abuela. And there used to be young ball players that played winter ball in Puerto Rico and lived with my abuela during winter. And then MLB season, they came back to the States and they played for the Cubs and the Braves. So every summer that I would be in Puerto Rico with my abuela, we were always watching the Cubs and the Braves. And then years later, my uncle coached with the Cubs. So we kind of mostly cheered for the Cubs. So that's how I became a strong Cubs fan, just kind of like you with Cardinals, through family ties. Kind of football, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan because my dad's from San Antonio, Texas. So football in Texas, you cheer for those teams. But baseball is my favorite sport. But I cannot say I'm a Cardinals fan. Sorry.
Hey, we have a question from Jennifer Goings. It says, to the authors, how hard is it to pick a title and cover for your book? We're all going to chuckle for just a second. And then we're going to tell you an insider truth. The insider truth is, if you have a publisher, you don't pick your title and you don't pick your cover. They do.
Yeah.
It's only when you self-publish that you get to pick your title and cover.
Yeah. I remember when I published my first book, they said, okay, well, give us all these titles. And I spent tons and tons of times coming up with titles. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're going with this one, which was not on my list at all.
I know, right?
Oh, no. I'll say I've been lucky. And so like my debut, His Perfect Partner, that was the title that it went in with.
Oh, wow.
Book 2, because Rose is a poet, I had Her Perfect Muse, and my editor was like, nah, and so but we brainstormed. He really liked Her Perfect Affair, and my first reaction when I heard that was like, oh my God, Rosa would not want the affair. She does not want everybody to know, right? But it's the perfect title. So typically with my books so far, either like the title that I've sent in is one that they liked, or we kind of brainstormed back and forth. So I've been lucky in that part.
Never Let Me Fall, for anybody who's read that one or knows that one. Originally, my publisher wanted to call it Dream Embrace.
Oh, wow.
Really? That's really different. That's really different.
I don't like that well. So they finally, and I didn't really, Never Let Me Fall wasn't my favorite either. I forget what the title was. It was it was Shatter the Night is what I originally wanted to call it.
Oh, I like that.
I know, right? Isn't that good? But they said no. Never Let Me
Fall. Great cover. I mean, great title.
I know. And Saving Mercy was actually the original title I had for that was The Stain of Mercy, because that's a line in the book.
Oh,
how mercy leaves a stain. So, but
wow, those are really strong ones.
Publishers.
I love Never Let Me Fall, and the title goes so perfect with the cover on that one. So.
Yeah. So with covers, do any of you, I think same thing. I don't ultimately get to pick, but they do, like we'll talk about different ideas. Kensington has been really good about being open to like tweaks, to suggestions. For Holiday Home Run, they actually sent me 3 different cartoon covers and
that
asked
is so
me,
cute. Such a cute cover.
So,
oh yeah. So
yeah,
cute.
they did really. So there were 2 other options, but that one was just like the perfect night. And I loved the little baseball ornament. Like I thought that was a nice. So I don't design it at all, but thus far they've been really good about, at least if I ask for suggestions or tweaks. So, but on the flip side, I do know friends that have like, it's Thursday afternoon at 5 and they get an email saying, hey, here's your cover. It's going live tomorrow. And they had no say. Yeah. They had no say.
Yeah, been there. Jennie, you've been awfully quiet, I have to say.
Well, I have picked a bunch of my covers. I have 13 indie published books, so I have got to go in and pick my covers. And, I mean, you sometimes have to spend a couple hours like scrolling through pictures of hot men, and it's hard. It's like,
that's a tough job.
It is a tough job. Like,
too hot, not hot enough.
Yeah, right. He kind of looks like him. Yeah, so I know.
Why didn't I make him look like this really hot fellow?
Yeah, I know.
I
we've
feel
got a
bad
question.
because
I have had no
maybe
say.
because I didn't sign in or something, it's not letting me type. So I feel bad because I can't answer. Some of these I would have answered already. Yes, I can cheer for like the Seattle Mariners. Yes, because you're American League, so fine until we get to the World Series and you're against the Cubs, and then not fine. I do watch a lot of football, but if I had to choose, then it would just be baseball. Someone says, what do you do when you get to a point where you're stuck and not sure how to progress in the book you're writing? If I'm really struggling, for me, really what helps, I'll go for a run. Something just to, I'm a plotter, not a pantser, meaning usually I like to think about what the scenes are and look at the character arc and all of that, instead of some people will just sit down and just let the words come and whatever comes, and then they'll adjust in revisions. Like that's a pantser. So for me, it helps me before I sit down to have an idea of what's going on, like the main POV character, what's their goal going into that scene, and that if I'm butting heads, and usually going out to do something active that gets me away from staring at the screen. Sure, I could go clean the house, but I would prefer to go for a run, or go hang out in a hammock in my backyard, or go for a walk. But so do something that can give my mind time to just be going over things versus sitting here staring at the screen. And for me, that just makes it worse.
I think it's like you are concentrating too hard, and that's blocking the creativity. And so you do have to completely separate yourself and go do something completely different.
Or I'll just write the next scene. I just know I don't know what's going to happen here. So then I'll put a little note that says insert something funnier here, or, put some funny scene here. And then later when I'm editing and think I'm done, those really stink to come back and find oh shoot, I'm supposed to put a whole funny scene right here. But I think that a writer's brain is always kind of thinking through that. So sometimes if I just go on and go to the next scene, I'll wake up the next morning and be like, oh, I know what I need to have them do there. I know they need to whatever. So I think that your brain is kind of always working in the background, and you'll get an idea then. But I just go to the next scene.
Hey, Priscilla, Jennifer Going wants to know what advice you would give someone who wants to become a writer.
I would say it's really important firstly to also be a reader. So whether, all kind of reading, but if you have a specific genre, so if you said romance or mystery or whatever, it would, it's important to, especially within genre fiction, so you have a good feel for, what the genre is about, especially like newer books, reader expectations, kind of what's on the market. Also, you can get a feel for what is it that appeals to you within that genre, so that you take that, with you. And always I say, whether it's reading books or taking workshops, or now that you can't just go to a workshop at your library, online there are a ton of workshops, classes, things like that, to start learning about your craft and honing your craft. I think also start writing. That helps. For me, it has also helped getting to know other writers. So, if there's an organization, if there's a critique group, if there, something like that you can find online right now. But I think those are the three main things. Is you want to be a reader. You want to, work on honing your craft. There are a ton of how-to books. If it's romance, that one of the main, I always say one of the top three is 3 books that I recommend is Goal, Motivation, and Conflict by Deborah Dixon. It's called GMC. And then there's a whole, there's a whole bunch of other ones. Donald Moss has some really good ones. Jack Bickham has some really good ones. I'm looking over here because there's a book over there that I'm in the middle of. Story Genius by Lisa Crone is one that a lot of people, I love Save the Cat.
Oh yeah, me too.
And that's all genre. That's not just romance. But if you're a romance, there's also a new one that I have not really used that much, but I have a lot of friends that do. It's called Romancing the Beat by Gwen Hayes.
Oh yeah. I think Jenny has that one.
I'm sharing that one.
Yeah.
Probably sitting.
Yeah, there you go.
Somewhere.
Yes.
There, yeah.
Yes. So, trying to learn more about the craft. I guess I should also say I teach an online romance writing class. It's a continuing education, so it's not college credit, but through Ed2Go. So classes like that, there's Margie Lawson Academy, as
Love
well.
her.
Yeah.
So hone your craft, and then try to connect with other writers so that hopefully you get to a point where you can critique, exchange work and critique.
Mm-hmm. I think too, just the learning aspect. I think when you're first starting out, you don't know how much you don't know.
Oh gosh.
And so like the more you learn, I think it's like, oh, I never thought of that. And I think the more you learn, actually, the more it inspires your writing. It really does change it because you are connecting the dots and seeing things differently. So I'm totally second the learning thing.
I would say, look at the books that you have on your keeper shelf. Like one of the things we talk about in, I guess, another book that I'd recommend, and I had never read it until my MFA, and I will say the first 3 chapters are textbooky, but then the rest of it, is a little bit more user friendly. But it's all good. It's oh my gosh, the name just flew out. It's the Elements: A Natural History of a Romance Novel.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
I don't have it here because it's back in the.
I have that.
I have like 2 offices. But so it breaks down a romance novel into like the 8 essential elements and the 3 optional elements. So it's kind of helps you. It's like about plot, but she takes you through all the different eras in the romance genre. So from the beginning of Regency and with Georgette Heyer, in the beginning of romantic suspense with Mary Stewart, and then through different eras up to contemporary with Nora Roberts. And she takes apart several classics. So like Pride and Prejudice is one of them. She takes apart a couple Nora Roberts, and she shows you the points within the book that have those 8 essential elements. And so a good thing to do then, like in my class, what I have students do is take a book off their keeper shelf, or if you don't have a book, then watch a romance, like watch a rom-com, because that's only 2 hours or an hour and a half. So you could in a weekend watch several rom-coms and look for the 8 essential elements to see how different authors take these 8 elements and weave them in different ways to make their books unique, but yet they hit all of those points to meet those reader expectations to have that satisfying read for a romance reader.
What's the book called again?
A Natural History of a Romance Novel.
Okay.
I'll put it in the Facebook group.
Okay, that I have not heard of that. I need to get that. That sounds really interesting.
Teacher presentation where actually I dissect the 8 essential elements of it's dissecting the romance plot with You've Got Mail, that rom-com.
Okay,
and we go over the elements there.
Linda wanted to know.
So I'm not sure. I was gonna say I'm not sure who Facebook user is, but you said my dream is to write a book one day. You can totally do it.
Yes, you can. We all were at that spot.
Definitely.
We wanted to, and we finally did it. You can too. Linda wants to know if you ever base your characters on people you know.
Well, Julia is named after my abuela in Puerto Rico, Julia. So that was kind of the familia tie. Real quickly before I forget, my favorite drink would be coquito, which is really fattening. So every winter I say I need to be on the treadmill while I'm drinking it, but I never do. I just drink it. Oftentimes it becomes the creamer in my coffee. But coquito is a Puerto Rican eggnog. So we make it with like Coco Lopez and coconut milk instead of whatever you make eggnog with. I've never made eggnog. So it has rum and brandy and cinnamon and vanilla, and it's delicious. So now I got sidetracked and I lost the question. What was the question?
Oh, if you ever base your
yes, on people. I will say there's not anybody that like in particular like this is, but little pieces. So I would say like Julia in the book, my abuela could tell you so much about baseball. And so that I envisioned Julia as a little bit of like my abuela in that aspect. So there are shades, probably Papi in the Match Perfection series. My dad's not like a great cook, like Papi. My Papi has never made asopao like Papi does in book 1, so they're not the same people. But the love for his familia and the love for his wife, who is no longer with the girls, is probably modeled after my Papi. So that the scene, Papi's last scene in book 1, I don't go back and read that because it's still too hard for me as a person to read that again. Papi's last scene, probably because it's too close to my Papi. So I think I would say shades of people. I have 3 daughters, and the 3 Match Perfection books, there are shades of my girls in each of them. My youngest says, like, when I say they're perfect, Melody, she's like, oh, that's my book, Mom. That's because that's Lily, the youngest. And they have shades of, but not exactly. I have in Her Perfect Affair, Jeremy's ex. At one point, a critique was like, she needs to be she needed to be meaner or something. And I haven't changed it, but she initially was called like Joanne. And then when I thought I was going to have to make her really witchy, I have a cousin Joanne that I love, and so I changed her name because I was like, no, she can't be ugly if she's Joanne. So I changed her name to something different so that I didn't associate it with my cousin. But I will say I'm writing a series now. I'm starting a new series, and I'm excited because it's I've explored the Puerto Rican side of our familia, my mom's side. My dad's Mexican American, and so this one is a Mexican American familia in San Antonio, where my dad's from, and so I'm excited. The parents are named after my grandparents, so I'm excited to explore that a little bit more.
No, that sounds like fun. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Yes.
Someone says, have you ever started writing a scene and end up changing it completely to better the book?
Yes, it's called edits.
Yes.
Right?
Revisions and copy edits. Yes.
It's not my choice.
Yes.
To do that, but the editor says you need to change this.
Yeah. What's the purpose of this chapter? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The whole if it doesn't move it, lose it is hard. Meaning it doesn't matter how beautifully written this chapter or this scene is, if it is not moving your plot or your romance forward, then you have to jettison it. At which point I have a file of deleted scenes because I cannot just delete words.
I can't either.
Words.
No.
I'm the same way.
I know. Hunt the Dawn. I think the book it published was like close to 90,000 words. My deleted scene file was 120,000 words.
Oh my gosh!
I wrote
deleted more.
Yeah, I deleted more than I actually ended up in the actual novel. 120,000 word deleted scene file.
Oh
Jennie, we are not boring you.
Priscilla, I wanted to ask you about family traditions. Any holiday traditions that you guys have?
Oh, we do in our house. Like my girls and I, and since my parents and I moved back together, actually my parents participate in them too. Little things. Well, once not so every year since my girls were, my youngest might have been maybe 1 or 2. We started. I got a VHS tape. That's how long ago it was. About how to make gingerbread houses, and so we started that first year making. We just made one little gingerbread house, and we've kind of grown to one year we made like our favorite monuments or places around the world. So my middle daughter made the Roman Colosseum, and my oldest and I made a pavilion at Guel Park.
I'm not laughing at you, Priscilla. I'm laughing at Jennie's husband, who just
it wouldn't be a live stream if Todd didn't show up, right?
I missed it.
Well, okay, so I shut my door before this started, and my dog pushed it open and came in. So then I texted my husband, like, turn down the TV, Maggie. Just open it. And he's out there feeding the dog. So I know. He just popped in and pulled the door shut. Thanks,
Well,
Todd.
Aw.
Well, and right before we started, I think only Diana was here, but right before we started, we had all taken a break to like go get wine or go to the bathroom, whatever. And I had my door open. You can't see it so much now, but like my room door. And my husband got home from work and we were walking upstairs and he walks around in his underwear all the time. So he comes up the stairs in his underwear and I was like, oh wait, the door's open. Like, you know, but I think Diana wasn't watching. So
No, I was looking down, darn.
Dang it.
Too funny. Let's see. Who I'm not sure who Facebook user said. So sorry I can't say your
Cynthia
name. but,
Krempel, I think. I'm sorry.
okay.
if I'm not
Maybe
saying
is
her
it
name.
Cynthia? Hi.
Yes, it's Cynthia.
Gingerbread. Yeah. So we've 1 year, I'll say we made Wrigley Field, and
Wow.
in the stadium, I got mini gummy bears, and those were the Cubs fans.
Oh my god!
And then we got mini M&Ms, and those were the
Oh my
opponent fans
Aw.
in there. And my oldest made, if you're familiar with Wrigley Field, or they're a bunch of tall, like rooftop bars. So my oldest made a big rooftop bar, and she made the parking lot even with, she piped in handicap parking in there, and we named the bar like one of my abuela's nicknames, so it was like her bar.
Aw.
So that's our big one, and then Christmas
That's a
Eve.
lot. That sounds like a lot of effort. Mine would be like
It is. It's a process because you make the dough and you bake all the pieces, or so you have to cut them all out by hand. This year, because of pandemic, and my girls are all, I've got one in Colorado and one in New York and one in Philly. So we're gonna just pick days that we're gonna Zoom, and we'll bake our pieces in our separate houses and then decorate them, another time via Zoom. Yeah, that way we can still do it. Yes, Jessica, go Cuts, go. Yes.
Well, Priscilla, I
Priscilla,
am from Colorado, so all that Texas stuff that you said, that's like the. So if you're from Texas, Colorado and Texas have that thing. So.
Oh gosh. My dad was born and raised in Texas. I'll say we lived there when I was little. So, so it's been years and years since I've lived there, but my youngest is in Boulder now.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sharon,
For the pandemic.
Let's all pause and give Sharon a minute to talk again.
Yes.
I am so sorry. I have no idea what's going on with my internet. And I hear my husband in the other room complaining about it. So, Priscilla, I want to know, do you eat your gingerbread houses, or do you have to glue them together so you can't eat them?
Oh, no. We use Wilton's Royal Icing, and it dries like cement. So like to break it, you were like pounding it. I'll say here in Florida, since we moved in Florida, we have to adapt. Like 1 year to make our stained glass windows, or we wanted to make the windows look like there was light on the inside if we put a light inside. And so I pounded up butterscotch and then melted it in the oven in a sheet, so that then we could break it into sheets and cover the windows so that it looked like there was yellow light coming from the inside.
How neat.
But it's so humid here in Florida that after a couple days, the butterscotch started melting. So that's kind of so we have to watch here. Oh, no. But no, we put them together with the royal icing, and that way you can eat it. There's never been any glue on ours. It's usually edible. Even like the trees, when we'll make Christmas trees, if you take a sugar cone and you turn it upside down and you pipe, green, like with all, from the bottom all the way around, and so you can make a one year.
We're lazy. We just do the gingerbread cookies, and
those are good too.
Everybody gets an award. So everybody makes a cookie, and they all get very creative. And then I just give awards to everybody. I make up awards like best hat. So we're very lazy. We don't make like cathedrals.
Tasha's asking, is Tasha? Tasha, if you're asking about the cold temps here in Florida, it's bearable today, but she's right. The last 2 days it was 34 degrees. So last night I was teaching via Zoom. like a college class. And here, by the time I finished here, my hands were like, I couldn't type because my hands were like too cold.
Wow.
It's been like 34 degrees here, which for us is cold.
Cold.
That's a little bit chilly,
That's
but
cool.
yeah, it's not Colorado chilly. Jennie is silently mocking you. She's
Well, here in Colorado, it was, I think, 45 today. And so we went out with our jackets on. Didn't even wear jackets.
Oh, really? At 45?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no.
It was sunny.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's beautiful.
Priscilla,
I'll say that the pictures that my youngest, or when we FaceTime, or her partner is a big runner. I will say my bio says half marathon runner. Now that bio is updated and it says Zumba aficionado. I like to run, but I haven't run a half marathon in a couple years. I'm more like 4 miles in my neighborhood now during pandemic, and that's good for me. But he is like a distance runner, and some of the pictures, Jennie, from like morning runs with the sun coming up over the mountains, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. My son lives right by there too. Right by
cool.
Boulder,
Yeah.
so.
I've never been out there.
I was at Margie Lawson's in Colorado a few years ago, and I was going to run in the morning, and I said, so can I just like go out and go running? And Margie was like, well, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of suppose you could. And I'm like, why? And she's like, well, maybe you ought to like take a big stick or something with you. And I was like, what? Why would I take a big stick? Why would I need a big stick to go on a run? And she's like, well, what is it, like bobcats or something they have?
Well, we have bobcats and we have bears and we have
some sort of cat. Yeah, he was worried about my jump out of a tree and get me. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to go running. You know?
Yeah, no, that's like Zumba in your room, or something like that.
Right, right. Hey, Priscilla, I wanted to ask you, who are you loving to read right now? Who's your like author that you go to, your auto buy, like just love them to death?
I'll say, and I'm reading an arc now as I'm working on this new book, because it's in part to help her because we critique, but in part because her writing is so inspiring. Sonali Dave. I love her work. Barbara O'Neill, her work is really beautiful. I'll say I don't write humor, but Mia Sosa, her The Worst Best Man that came out.
Oh my God, we did that book here. It was
so funny.
We just did that.
Alexis Daria's her book, You Had Me at Hola, is really is really good. And I'll say I'm not computer tech savvy. My solution to someone who's having a problem with Zoom is, well, like, maybe get out and come back in. That's about all I can help you with. But Farah Rashan's the Boyfriend Project. Daniel is a computer whiz, and he could whisper anything about binomials or whatever computer stuff in my ear, and I would be just fine. So that's another book that I highly recommend. But Sonali's usually when and right now she's doing like Jane Austen retellings. So A Recipe for Persuasion was book 1, and that was book 2. Book 1 was Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors, and book 3 is I don't know if I can say that. I don't know if she's shared the cover yet, so I'm not going to say what it is, but I will say it's really good.
I just want to give a plug for Sonali. If you have an Audible account, I noticed an Audible for, I think because they're trying to compete with Chirp, they're now offering a bunch of free books every month that are included in your membership, and 2 of Sonali's books are offered for free. One is A Bollywood Affair, and I forget what the other one is. It's just slipping my mind.
Is it A Distant Heart?
I don't think so. I don't think it's that one.
Okay.
But A Bollywood Affair is one, and there's another one, and they're both offered Audible for free this month.
Wow.
So if you want to like try her out and you got an Audible membership, it's included in your membership for free. So
I would highly recommend that.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
We're actually running out of time, and I wanted to
Oh, goodness.
ask you what you are working on next, what's coming out, what you're writing now, and all that
Okay.
good stuff.
Okay, so what's coming out next is book 2 in my Keys to Love series. So it's set in Key West. This is book 1, Island Affair. It features a Cuban American familia, the Navarros. And so book 2 is called Anchored Hearts. And it comes out in April. So the end of April, it's a May release, but like that last Tuesday in April. And it is a second chance romance with the sister of the Navarro familia, Ana Maria. And they're all firefighter paramedics. She's a firefighter paramedic and an athletic trainer, and her high school sweetheart who left right after high school, and she was supposed to follow him, and she stayed behind and never for different reasons. And he's back in town after being gone like over a decade because he's got issues with his dad. So it's a reunion, second chance romance, and that's April, May. And then in June, I have a novella. It's called Lights Out. It's in an anthology called Summer in the City. And that is 3 novellas. It's 3 best friends, and they all live in New York City. And they are heading away for a girls' weekend, like Saturday morning. So Friday night, they all go their separate ways, and there is a blackout across the city. And so it's what happens on, and to all 3 of the girls. My story, Lights Out, it is Mateo. I mentioned it earlier. He is a rising Broadway star, and he's been, I kind of thought about Lin-Manuel and In the Heights and Hamilton and his crew. And so the heroine is named Vanessa after, I have a cousin Vanessa, and Lin-Manuel's wife is Vanessa. And Mateo he has spent like the last decade writing the musical about Robert Clemente, and it's open night. And Vanessa is a critic. She writes for the hip new online entity that kind of it's called The Fix, meaning you want to know what's happening, and you want looking for something fun. The Fix can. And they knew each other in high school, but they were at rival theater troupes, so they never connected. They liked each other from afar. But his last play that he was in, she wrote like a scathing review. And so she's there opening night of the play, the musical, and the lights go out, and they
love that setup. That is so much
fun.
So those are 2 books next year, and then I'm working on a project that we haven't announced yet, so I can't say, but I said a little bit. It's going to be with a Mexican American familia set in San Antonio.
Hey,
awesome. We'll look for that.
Super fast because we're running out of time. 2 people want to know, if they've never read you before, what book should they start with?
Oh my goodness, I hate this question. I will say either Island Affair. All of the books are standalone, but I think if you like, so I would either start with Island Affair, and that's book 1. So the Navarro familia, or His Perfect Partner is book 1 in the Match to Perfection series. That one is print. All of the Match to Perfection are print, audio, and digital. Okay. But His Perfect Partner, you can only get it in print now, like used. So it's out of print for right now, but it is on digital and audio.
Okay.
And that introduces all of the Fernandez sisters.
All right.
Lots of fun. Great. Thank you so much. This has been such a joy.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh wait.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, I will go into the comments and read any questions that people posted. Right, they'll be in Facebook, right?
Yes. Yeah, they'll be in.
So I'm sorry if I missed a question, but I will go in over the course of this weekend and answer. Okay.
Thank you, darling. Bye.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Okay, guys.
Sorry about that. All right.
Sorry. Like, if you have been with us, you know that we do, how we introduce our next book is we have our author quiz questions, where we list 4 questions, and it's one of the 4 of us is the answer. You guys have to guess which one. There's always a theme to these questions. This month's theme is Florida. And then we're going to announce our next book. So I'm going to start with the questions. You guys get to guess which of the 4 of us this question applies to. Question number 1. Which author, when visiting her grandmother's house in Florida, saw an alligator come out of the lake, grab a small dog, and disappear? then kept waiting for the dog to come back out of the water, but it never did. Which author, on her first time at Disney with her husband, got sick? He'd been dying to take her to It's a Small World. She tried to enjoy the ride, for his sake, of course, but she was so ill she wanted to vomit in the water. Okay. And which author was swimming in the Gulf, but then her husband frantically motioned for her to come to shore because there was a dark shadow in the water, and she literally ran on the water to get to shore. And which author's entire family dressed as the Pirates of the Caribbean on Halloween night in Disney World? Okay, so you guys get to guess. I will post these in the Isn't It Romantic Book Club. So if you're not a member of that group, join the Isn't It Romantic Book Club group. That's where the questions will be. And you guys get to choose in a poll of which one of us it was.
People are already guessing in the comments. That's funny. Okay. All right, are we ready?
We're ready.
I know,
We're
it's so
ready.
funny.
So for the next book,
Oh God, I have my glasses over.
Oh, wait.
Wait. Whoa! It is Marie Force.
We're going to have Marie Force here, guys.
How much I feel, Marie Force, how much I feel. I'm so incredibly excited about having her in our group. What? It's awesome. But you know what, guys? We're going to wait until after Christmas because we know a lot of you are busy. So you will get to see her in January. But before that, we have coming up next week, we have 12 days of a different author a day that is going to come in and play games with you guys and give you prizes. And keep commenting on the group because you all, everybody who's commented is entered to win a $20 gift card and to win Marie Force's book. And I think someone said something about giving away a book, or no? Oh, maybe that was me. That's right.
Yeah.
Shelter in place.
Also,
I love this. So
don't forget, tomorrow is Secret Santa Day and Abbie's Dangerously Dark Darlings. 139 authors, one day only, giving away presents to so many people. So join the group if you haven't already. It's going to be like a totally epic day tomorrow.
and Marie Force's new book is set in Miami-Dade, Florida, which is why sometimes we forget to like say what our prompts actually mean.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready
Yeah.
for a little beach time in Florida as we have all the
time. Can't wait.
All righty.
Thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.